In this crazy, nonstop, hyper-connected world we live in, there's a skill that's kind of been forgotten, but it might just be the most important one you ever learn. And nope, it's not about doing more or achieving more. It's about exploring what it means to not just be alone, but to truly be with yourself.
So, the material we're diving into today kicks off with this incredibly compelling idea. It points to a skill that isn't about hustle, but about a very specific kind of being, a skill that's waiting for us right behind this quote. And there it is, just 4 simple words. But really, think about what they mean. Alone, with no distractions, still, without that constant motion. Just, present, not escaping into the past or the future. It sounds so simple, right? But let's be honest, this is the one thing most of us spend our entire lives running away from. And it's the real foundation of emotional maturity.
So what's the deal? Why do we instinctively run from being alone with our own minds? This really gets to the core of our modern struggle with distraction.
And wow, this slide just nails it, doesn't it? On one side, you've got all our fillers, the screens, the noise, the endless plans. And on the other, you see what we're really running from. It's like we're making this subconscious deal with ourselves. We'll take any distraction just to avoid feeling that loneliness, that restlessness, or even our biggest hopes and fears.
This is such a huge question. I mean, what really happens when you finally put the phone down, turn everything off, and just sit? Turns out the silence reveals exactly what all that noise was designed to cover up. And this is what starts to bubble up to the surface. It's not some big scary monster, but the parts of ourselves we've been neglecting, the unresolved feelings, the stories we haven't dealt with, and maybe the most important thing of all, that quiet inner voice, our intuition, that gets drowned out by everything else.
Okay, I know this can sound a little uncomfortable, and honestly, at first, it usually is. But this is the crucial turning point. This is where the real work and the real reward begins. It's about finally meeting the person you are behind all the roles you play every day.
I absolutely love this metaphor. It just perfectly nails what that initial experience feels like. It's not about walking into some haunted house. It's about exploring a part of your own house that's just been collecting dust for a while.
And yeah, when you flip that light on, of course you're going to see some clutter. You'll see the emotional dust, the things you need to deal with, the parts of yourself you've totally outgrown. It can be messy for sure, but it's also the very first step toward getting clear.
And here is the absolute key to the whole thing. These feelings, they aren't threats. A tough memory or a deep-seated fear isn't some final judgment on your life. The goal isn't to fix it or run away from it. It's just to stay, to become a kind observer of your own experience.
And when you do this, you start to build something the source calls self-possession. It's basically a kind of inner superpower. It's the ability to feel a really strong emotion without becoming that emotion. You can hold it, look at it, and then let it pass without it taking you over.
So you might be thinking this is all just internal, head in the clouds stuff. But no, this internal practice of just sitting with yourself starts to create real, tangible changes in your everyday life. This isn't just a mental workout, it has powerful, real-world effects. Seriously, once you're actually okay with being alone in the quiet, you start to move through your day so differently. You're less likely to snap at someone in traffic. Those impulsive online buys suddenly seem less appealing. And that quiet inner voice, it starts to feel less like a whisper and more like a guide you can actually count on. You literally start to trust yourself more.
And this quote just hits it right on the head. In a culture that worships constant motion, we think being still is being passive or weak. But the real strength, the real power, that's built in these quiet moments of self-awareness.
So how do you actually start? Well, the best part is it's so much simpler than you think. This isn't about some huge hour-long meditation marathon. It's about starting really, really small.
Yeah, that's it. 2 minutes. That just blows all the excuses out of the water, right? Anybody has 2 minutes. And that's all it takes to start changing your entire relationship with yourself.
Okay, so let's break down how to do it. The steps are beautifully simple, but pay attention to the really important bits here. Phone away. No music, no podcasts, nothing. Just you. And just as important is the mindset. You are not trying to achieve some special Zen state. Your only job is to be present, to just sit with yourself, almost like you're sitting quietly with a good friend. And what you get from that one tiny action is, well, it's huge. For just 2 minutes, you anchor yourself in the one place that all the external chaos can't touch, your own center. It's like hitting a powerful reset button for your entire system. All right, let's talk about the big picture here, the long-term payoff. What does this practice build over time? Well, it builds a type of strength that is completely different from what most of us think of as strength. Think about it. So much of what we think of as strength is actually pretty fragile, right? It depends on things going our way, or on having the right people cheering us on, or on getting that external approval. The second those things disappear, that strength just crumbles.
But this kind of strength, the kind you build by just sitting with yourself, that is all internal. It doesn't depend on anything or anyone outside of you. It's the ability to endure, to listen to yourself, and to just breathe through whatever comes your way. That is real, lasting resilience. So, I want to leave you with this one really transformative question. Just really imagine it for a second. What would your life be like if you could move through the world without being afraid of a quiet moment, without fearing being alone, and maybe most importantly, without being afraid of what you might find inside your own mind?
And that right there, as the source material puts it so perfectly, that is a kind of freedom that most people never ever find. The freedom to be truly, unshakably, and comfortably yourself. Thanks so much for exploring this with me today.